everybody. Happy Tuesday. You know, it's weird. Eternals comes out on Friday, but it doesn't seem like a really big movie week for some reason. I think we're not getting any huge trailers. Usually when a big movie's dropping, there are some really big trailers. And I just think that people are just so shocked at the Rotten Tomato. I'm really curious to see what the box office for the movie is. It's so nice to see everybody. Let me say hello to new members. Hey, Sam Greer. Thanks for joining. Hey, Roman. Welcome. Anyone who joins during a live stream gets a shout out. And at the very end of today's live stream, I'll do a couple of shout outs for everybody. So anyway, the way these streams work, if you are not, Faith in Films is a new member as well, welcome. The way these live streams work is that I'm going to do the first 3 stories of the day, and then you can ask me anything for the final 10 minutes of the stream, and then I'll do a couple of shout outs. If you're not watching live, the thing on the left is the visual guide to the chapter times. So when we're doing a story, the one that we're talking about will be highlighted in red. All right, everybody, let's get started. Okay, here we go. Boop. All right, so Chris Pratt trended yet again yesterday because he has been cast as the voice of yet another very well-known character. First, he was Super Mario. Now, he's Garfield. So we're going to talk about that and just Chris Pratt in general. I think what's going on with him is very interesting, and I don't think that we really have a decision yet as to what's going on with his career. I think he's in a weird place, but he's getting paid. He's getting paid a lot. These are very good deals. So he was cast a couple of weeks ago as Mario for Super Mario Brothers. A lot of people talked about the fact that, he's not Italian. He's not Italian American. Yet no one complained about Charlie Day as Luigi. So I think Chris Pratt, is a little under the gun. We'll see. Anya Taylor-Joy is the princess. I think that's wonderful casting. And on Instagram, there was a very, very nice video that Chris Pratt posted talking about getting to play Super Mario. He said, he's always he's loved the game. He has memories of going to play it. And he said this was actually a pretty darn good story. When Chris Pratt, he said he would steal coins because he didn't have quarters to play. He would take a quarter from a nearby wishing well so he could play the video game. And he was like, I just figured out, that I actually ended up getting my wish come true. And then he had, I think, the wherewithal to comment that, someone else's wish didn't come true. What's the name of the guy who voices the character in the games? His wish didn't come true, as he's not going to be voicing the character in the movie. But I thought that was a nice story. I thought it was very Chris Pratt-y. I think it kind of has that aw shucks appeal. He's a pretty good storyteller. He also tells stories about working at Bubba Gump Shrimp Company in Santa Monica when he was starting out as an actor. And he would eat the leftovers off of people's plates because not only was it tasty, but he was struggling financially as a new actor. So he tells very relatable stories. So I think he's going to do he says he's working very hard on the voice, and he says he's a fan. So I hope for his sake he gets it right. It better be really good. I think in 2022 or whenever this movie comes out, I think it's hard not to pick a different. An actor who's maybe a better fit, but I think, it's a little bit like Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson got in a lot of trouble for not understanding that while at one point you could have, a straight actor playing an LGBT role, we've evolved past that. So I think Chris Pratt is going by old school Hollywood voiceover rules and is not quite as current as maybe everybody else. Certainly not everybody on social media, where, forget current. Social media is, trying to push the edge of the envelope forward. So it makes it a very interesting space. And then, so that was kind of crazy. And then yesterday, on a Monday no less, because, Garfield hates Mondays, it was announced that Chris Pratt is voicing Garfield. And I think, again, who wants to follow in the footsteps of Bill Murray, who, of course, famously voiced Garfield in not just one, but 2 movies. And in fact, when I was in the Zombieland 2 end credit scene with him, the joke was that it was a Garfield 3 junket for the new movie. So he's, Bill Murray's very strongly associated with that character. So I think and Chris Pratt's nothing like Bill Murray. So I think that puts him in a difficult spot. But I looked into this Garfield movie, and it sounds pretty good. So Mark Dindal is the director, and David Reynolds is the screenwriter. And where have these two gentlemen worked together before? On Emperor's New Groove, one of my favorite movies. In fact, when I do the third story of the day, I always say Boom Baby, which is from Emperor's New Groove. Now, Emperor's New Groove follows old school Hollywood rules because it takes place in the Incan Empire in South America, and it stars the voice cast of David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha Kitt, and Patrick Warburton. Not a single person of Latino or South American descent. And yet, of course, that, I don't think you could probably cast that today, but it's such a good movie. Such a good movie. It's on Disney Plus. If you've never seen Emperor's New Groove, you should go and watch it, and you'll be very happy that you did. So it's I think we have to see these movies. I think we have to see what their tone is, what they have in mind. But I feel like there's a lack of self-awareness with Chris Pratt, which is potentially where he's getting into trouble. Doesn't he realize what's going to happen when he has more than one huge role like this? I mean, he did a wonderful job doing the voice work in Onward, and he did a great job in the Lego movie. Some people are saying he's the new Jack Black, which I think is pretty funny, because it's true. And Jack Black's like, I'm still around. But, I mean, let's see. I think it's too many of the same type of big character. I think it becomes a running gag. People were I saw some funny jokes. One woman tweeted, "Am I voiced by Chris Pratt?" I thought that was pretty funny. Now, some of you are like, I just don't get what people's problems, the problem they have with Chris Pratt. He seems like a really nice guy. He does seem like a really nice guy. In fact, as I've said before, I feel that Chris Pratt is sometimes taken advantage of. And I feel like the religion's very important to him because it offers support to him, which I think is beautiful, which is what you would hope why people would gravitate towards religion. If he'd just leave this damn church, I think so many of his problems would be solved. And the fact that he won't leave it is really odd. But anyway, people should be very, it's a slippery slope, right? So anyway, I also think his association with the Schwarzenegger family, not great for him. I think, and the fact that he left Anna Faris and he left, that relationship didn't work out. I think that kind of put a little bit of a pall on him, and especially because Katherine Schwarzenegger, I don't know. I mean, who knows what their relationship... Well, I kind of do know what their relationship is like. And this is one of the things that I don't like about Chris Pratt. I was looking, for some reason, I don't know how it came about. I was on his social media Instagram feed. And I saw that he had posted not just one, but 2 photos of his wife sitting on the floor in the bathroom, clipping his toenails for him, while she sits on the floor looking up at him and smiling like it was the greatest thing that she ever could have done. And I just had a real problem with that. I think it's an antiquated view of life. And I think that when you really highlight that, I think people are concerned that you are into all the other problems that existed at that time period. So, I mean, the 1950s and 60s ideal was largely a lie created by Hollywood. And I think, most people actually were pretty unhappy during that period. And I think that's, I think people like certain aspects of those time periods, but, I think to take them point blank without understanding any of the very important subtext is a problem. So that's why, so every time I think I like Chris Pratt, I'll see something like that and I'll be like, come on, it's a little like, what's that actress's name? Cameron Burr or something, I don't even want to talk about it. It's just so ridiculous. It's not good. I think people should not overshare. I mean, some people make quite a good living oversharing on their personal lives, but be prepared for the problems that could bring. Hey, Jonathan Ware, thanks for joining. So these are some issues I have with Chris Pratt. So anyway, live action. What's going on the live action front? Is he only doing animation? Well, he had the Tomorrow War. Hey, Ghostface Gamer. That's fantastic. Hey, Caleb Griffin. The Tomorrow War actually did very well. And I think that it would be a little bit more of a better feather in his cap, a little better plumage, if maybe people talked a bit more at Amazon about how well it performed. Because it did great, but nobody ever talks about how well it did. So the Tomorrow War, that was a solid win for him. He has, of course, the franchises he's already signed on for. And to talk about being in everything, he's in both Guardians 3 and therefore also Thor, Love and Thunder, but he's also in the Jurassic World movies. Oh, I missed a new member, Barbara? Barbara, my apologies. Oh, Barbara's not a new member. Barbara used the very clever way to get a question in there and get it highlighted. So, good job, Barbara. All right, so anyway, I have to say, I think that Chris Pratt is very good in these projects. Hey, King Louie. I think he's excellent. You know, when I was watching Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and he goes to save Bryce Dallas Howard underwater, I was like, what a man. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, when he just sticks to being an actor, I think it's hard to get better than Chris Pratt. I think that, you know, and I have to say at this point, I don't know how much these personal shares are doing for him. So the question is, how will the projects that he's doing going forward perform? That's right, Lloyd Lester. I did say that. I said Bryce Dallas Howard's character should marry that man. When he went to save her when she was sinking, I was like, oh yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of people, you know, you reminded me of that. Hey, Rampton, you reminded me, Rudy Meyer. That's a great point. Star-Lord, when he ruined in Infinity War the plan to defeat Thanos, that, I think also the character crossed the line for a lot of people and became annoying. He crossed that line for me when he did a dance battle in the first movie. I thought that was ridiculous. But for other people, it was Infinity War. That was the silly straw that broke the camel's back. So I think that that's another thing that he's unfortunately dealing with. But let's see how this does. Let's see how Jurassic World Dominion does. Let's see how Thor 4 does. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He has a new TV show on Amazon called The Terminal List, which I will probably watch. However, I have to say, it has Patrick Schwarzenegger in it. And you're like, Patrick Schwarzenegger can't get a single job acting on his own. So he's it's a hire from his brother-in-law. And, you know, it's like stuff like that. He should just not do that. Although I have to say, Arnold Schwarzenegger can kind of rehabilitate his image, which he did quite well during the pandemic. And Arnold Schwarzenegger had a child with his housekeeper behind his wife's back while his housekeeper was living in the house. And I mean, it's like one of the worst betrayals I've ever seen. Hey, Lewis. And I mean, many people, including myself, were like, I can never look at Arnold Schwarzenegger again. But I did enjoy his COVID videos, to be honest with you. I think, you know, he did a nice job. But one of the reasons that Arnold Schwarzenegger did a very good job kind of pushing back is that I think he kind of like, you know, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good business person, and I think he can read a room. And I would, you know, I think Chris Pratt should learn to read a room, is my opinion. So let's see. I mean, I have to see these projects, but I think Chris Pratt is in need of hiring a really good publicist who will be honest with him. And I really wish he'd never married Catherine Schwarzenegger. All right. Juan, how do you not know what Arnold Schwarzenegger did? You got to look it up. It was crazy what Arnold Schwarzenegger did. Although I have to say, the son that he had with his housekeeper looks just like him. Like so much like him, it's crazy. But he shouldn't have done that. That was not very nice. All right. Let's go to the second story of the day. Do you guys think that, will you still watch Chris Pratt projects? Occasionally I'll ask you to participate. Some of you know, but I see a decent number of yeses. The market will decide if Chris Pratt still has a career. Faith in Films. Okay, Faith in Films says, hey Grace, respectfully, I disagree as a Christian viewer of your show. Our dedication is to Christ first, not the whims and waves. Chris Pratt is a man, and a man must have conviction. Faith in Films, with all due respect to your very nice comment, and I appreciate you being so respectful. So we're having a nice discussion here, and I can see this is very important to you based on your username. And I think that nobody has any problem. I don't think anyone has a problem with Chris Pratt's religion. I think that when you start evangelizing, that's when it starts to become troublesome. I think when people start to be worried, like, how is this going to affect me? That's the issue. And I know for some people, evangelizing is very important to them. But I think you just, again, read the room. I think you kind of need to understand that some people are, a lot of people think freedom of speech means that you're free of repercussions and free of reaction. That's not true. So I have absolutely no problem with anybody's religion, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. I have a big problem with evangelizing. All right, but I appreciate you joining the discussion, Faith in Films, and I certainly don't begrudge Chris Pratt's conviction whatsoever. And I think, as I've said before, I respect that Chris Pratt's faith has helped him so much, and clearly it has. Faith is so incredibly important to Chris Pratt, and I'm glad it's given him the help that he so clearly has very much needed in the past, and he's kept him on a safe path today. All right, so that's the first story of the day. It got super, we had to be very careful there. I wish Chris Pratt was that careful. All right. He needs some media training. And, I want to make a good point, Faith in Films. Let me just add this. Hey, Mattiotio, thanks for joining. I think another important thing is to remember is that if you really want to be a very strong religious figure, and that's what you want to be about, that's super fun. That's super cool. But just realize that's going to limit your audience. And Chris Pratt is someone who is acting in projects that seem to be 4-quadrant projects that are supposed to have mass appeal. So there are many people who have gone on to have religious-based careers in entertainment and focus on that audience, like Kirk Cameron from Growing Pains. And that's perfectly valid. But that doesn't seem to be what Chris Pratt has in mind. So I think that that's another thing. That's another thing to think about. All right. Story number 2. Boop. Hocus Pocus 2. This is going to be big. Now, Hocus Pocus every year is just a huge hit. I'd say that and Nightmare Before Christmas are like 2 of the most watched Halloween movies every year. Both happen to be on Disney Plus and are very big for the service and have been very big before Disney Plus on streaming services where they existed beforehand. They still do pretty well. Are both from 1993, Jessie the Good Witch? That's fascinating. What a year for Halloween. That's fantastic. I love that. Hey, in France, Mattiotio, we're gonna interact, like that and talk about where people are from at the very end of the stream. So that's fascinating to me. I think that's great. But anyway, these, even on like iTunes, both of these films do extremely well. Now, also Nightmare Before Christmas has been a very strong brand within the theme parks. It's not only a very popular overlay on the Haunted Mansion. I don't even usually like the Haunted Mansion, but I like the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. And also they've incorporated quite a bit into the Halloween parties over the years. Like for Halloween season or Halloween weekend this year, I went onto YouTube and I watched the most recent parades for Halloween in Disneyland and Disney World, which was a lot of fun. I recommend doing stuff like that. And they heavily featured the Nightmare Before Christmas, particularly the Disneyland one, and it was really, really done well. They don't do a lot with Hocus Pocus in the parks. I wonder if because they didn't have the rights to the likenesses of the actresses, but I bet you it's in their new contracts because they're making a Hocus Pocus 2, and it's going to be on Disney Plus. Although I saw somebody point this out before the stream even started. Home Sweet Home Alone sure is shockingly scary. I think nobody wants to see Hocus Pocus 2 go down the same path. Although speaking of tone, I watched Hocus Pocus, was it last year? I think it might have been last year, and I was surprised at how dark it was. I was like, this is a very dark movie. Are they talking about killing and eating children? I believe they are. But people love it. Some of you have talked about that it's very big with the LGBT community. Very, very popular. So they've started filming at Halloween for Halloween next year. And of course, they want the great fall foliage. They're doing a lot of location shooting. Some of you have been sending me location shots outside your homes. And the production design looks very, very strong. It looks excellent. That's right, Charlie. Agatha Harkness is also a witch. They're getting a good crop of witches over there at Disney. Witch Please. I love that stuff. So they got the original people to come back. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. Now, that's a picture of them actually from last year. They did a COVID fundraiser for the Museum, I think, of New York. And it was like a streamed event. It didn't turn out very well. I actually didn't get to tune in even though I gave them $10, but it was for a good cause. But I think it went pretty well. But I have to say, they still look very, very good as the characters. So they're all coming back, and the story this time is that 3 young women accidentally bring them back. I wouldn't have doubled down on the threesomes of women. I think it's important to make sure that this is appealing to everyone. But let's see. So the rest of the cast, right? So let's see what it looks like. So the rest of the cast is Doug Jones returning as Billy. Doug Jones, of course, is the famous contortionist who does so much work with Guillermo del Toro. He's going to be back as Billy, so I think that's awesome. Then they've added some new cast members, which I think are very encouraging. Tony Hale, you might best know him from Veep as Selena Meyer's assistant. I'm a big Tony Hale fan. He voiced Forky. Once you get him with the studio, they like to keep using you. So he voiced Forky, of course. He's also on the Mysterious Benedict Society show on Disney+, which got renewed, even though I don't believe anybody watches it. Sam Richardson, who is so funny. I love Sam Richardson. He's going to be doing he was just in Ted Lasso as the owner of the new Nigerian. I think he's from Nigeria, but he owned the new Moroccan team. He was very funny on Ted Lasso. So, and Sam Richardson also was from Veep, by the way. He's very, very funny. So I'm glad that Sam Richardson's going to be in there. But then the person I'm the most excited about, whose picture I put right there, is Hannah Waddingham. Speaking of Ted Lasso, Hannah Waddingham will be joining this project. I think she is a really fantastic choice. Hannah Waddingham not only just won an Emmy, but she comes from a musical theater background and has done a lot of West End. And of course, the first Hocus Pocus was a musical, and I believe the second one will as well. I mean, of course, when you have Bette Midler, of course she's going to sing. So I'm extremely excited about Hannah Waddingham joining this. I hope she's playing a witch. Maybe she's playing a Puritan. She, of course, so famously played the Shame Lady on Game of Thrones. So I just think this is phenomenal. Hannah Waddingham looks so great. I think both, by the way, Hannah Waddingham and Emily Blunt look fantastic in their pink outfits there. I thought it was interesting that I picked photos that look pretty similar. So this sounds pretty good to me. They have a new director, Adam Shankman, who of course went on to be a big film director, at least for a little while, directed the first film, which was a theatrical release. And now Anne Fletcher is directing. A lot of women here. I hope Anne Fletcher delivers. But she directed Step Up. She has a choreography background. She did 27 Dresses, which was pretty good. The Proposal, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. The Guilt Trip, which was Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand. Could we get Barbara Streisand in here? That would be amazing. And then Hot Pursuit, which was the Reese Witherspoon. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I don't remember her name. She's from Modern Family. Sofia Vergara. So I think this is pretty good. I think it sounds good. I'm a little scared because after the way things went with Home Sweet Home Alone, I'm nervous about this. But I think this is going to go really well. I think that the fact they got all 3 of them to return and Doug Jones, and I like the rest of the new cast members, I think it's going to be exciting. Who here is going to, I'll ask. You're pretty much all going to say yes. Who's going to watch Hocus Pocus 2? It's going to be huge next year. It's going to own Halloween. I feel sorry for any other project that might come out around then. I like the enthusiastic yes, Hector. I appreciate that. Lloyd also. Marco, you're not going to join the party. Evan is definitely going to watch. Oh, Doggomania is also not in. I like Jimmy. Oh, God, yes. That's fantastic. That's great. You guys are great. Your enthusiasm. See? This is what's exciting. Maybe we'll do a watch-along. I'm sorry that's what Josh just said. I'm sorry I haven't been doing any watch-alongs. I want to get back on those. But, we're going to be doing watch-alongs probably for Boba Fett as well, but definitely Hawkeye. So we have a lot of watch-alongs coming up. Denzel O'Neil. I know if there are watch-alongs at that time for shows, I'm not sure if I'll do the movie. Denzel O'Neil says yes with the emojis. That's a great use of emojis right there. All right, so let's go to the third story of the day, and then we'll do 10 minutes of Ask Me Anything. So hold on. Boom, baby! Nolan's movie is shaping up pretty nicely. Warner Brothers is probably like, I can't believe that you finally have a great cast for Universal. Maybe Universal advised him. Maybe Universal was like, you need to do a better job with your casting. You have everything else, Nolan. You need casting. You need casting help. So, of course, this is Nolan's Oppenheimer movie about the invention of the nuclear bomb. And Cillian Murphy, did I pronounce it right? Is it Cillian Murphy or is it Cillian? I always forget which one it is. Hey, Uriel, thanks for joining. I'm waiting for you guys to catch up. There's always a bit of a delay. It is Cillian Murphy. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Cesar Coronado. So, it's not Zillion, Ivan. You're trying, it's Cillian. All right, so Cillian Murphy. All right, so Cillian Murphy, very, very exciting for him. Because I gotta tell you, while Cillian Murphy, of course, has Peaky Blinders and a couple of other projects, he's never really made it as a movie star. So when that was how the project was originally pitched, I felt wasn't that great a setup. But they are rounding out the rest of the cast beautifully. Emily Blunt, she joined about a week or so ago as the female lead. Thank goodness, and this is what's interesting. Hey, Courtney, thanks for joining. I've always said that, what's really been holding him back from winning awards is that he doesn't have any heart in his movies, Christopher Nolan. And, Cillian Murphy is a cold actor. But boy, it's heating up in here. These are some warm actors, boy. Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, who I hear has a small role, but still fantastic. And then Robert Downey Jr., who has not been in some, that Doolittle is going to be hard for him to live down. But I like these actors a lot. I think this is very, very strong. And Robert Downey Jr., you can't lose with a Nolan movie, and Robert Downey Jr. really needs a win outside of Marvel. So this is very exciting. Maybe they can make friends with Nolan and be in his next movie in a bigger role, right? Be like, hey, make sure you talk to Nolan in between takes and become his pal. Robert Pattinson did a Christopher Nolan movie, and he ended up being Batman. So Nolan's a good person to know. So I think this is a very, very, very strong cast. Now, obviously, again, as I just said, Nolan wants an Oscar. He's really wanted an Oscar. That's what Dunkirk was supposed to do. Did not work out. Although I did not care for Dunkirk, as you might recall from my review. And I upset a lot of Nolanites about it. Nolan, he is the only director who has as hardcore a fandom as like DC and Marvel. So that's impressive. That's impressive right there. So anyway, thank you, Jerome. Jerome agrees with me. Nolan's films are always technically impressive, but, he really has a problem with story to some degree. So anyway, Christopher Nolan really wants an Oscar. Now, 1917 was from Universal. Sam Mendes, who, as I like to say, has been copying Christopher Nolan for quite some time now and has been doing a better job of it than Nolan. 1917 was a big Oscar contender and actually took home a number of awards, including Best Director, I believe, for Sam Mendes. Now, here's the problem, though. This movie from Christopher Nolan is coming out July 21st, 2023. I think that is a horrible Oscar date. Nolan has to decide. Does he want to make a lot of money at the box office, or does he want to win Oscars? It's very hard for a movie that's released before the fall to do very well during the Oscars, unless there's something unique about it, like Black Panther, right? Or Mad Max. But even then, those films were not major contenders in the top categories. So I feel that July 21st is just a horrible Oscar date. 1917 was very well released. It was released right before Christmas, just so it qualified. And then it played and made so much money over January and February when it went wide, because it was getting all these awards from the Golden Globes, and everybody was like, let me see this thing. And it was the only thing playing because nothing was coming out during that time, of course. And just Universal did a beautiful job launching that movie, both box office-wise and awards-wise. So I think July 21st, I feel like I see Nolan making the exact same mistakes again. I would also, that's also right, Caleb, you pointed out, Christopher Nolan's sound mixing is horrible. I hope Universal talks to him about that as well. I had to have subtitles on while I was watching Tenet. And I'll never forget watching Interstellar, where everybody in the audience didn't hear Michael Caine's last words. It might have been intentional, but that's not the only time that Nolan has done that. He just cannot mix sound properly for some reason. I don't understand it. I saw a funny joke, though, about when the nuclear bomb goes off, it's going to have such a big boom, the Nolan boom, that it'll blow out the speakers in all theaters. I thought that was a funny gag on Twitter. That was good. But I also think I have to say that a movie about the atomic bomb is pretty depressing. So good luck. I think that's a really tough sell. And I would be wondering what the message is behind the movie. Oscars are not, I think that Christopher Nolan, again, he just doesn't understand. Let's see. I hope that he does. But I think he feels like, ooh, Dunkirk's very interesting. Oh, this is an interesting story. Oscars aren't about interesting stories. Oscars are about making people cry or pointing out something really important or just a really good message. Like, again, the reason Green Book won was because it was a chance to do the opposite, to flip Driving Miss Daisy on its head. By the way, Driving Miss Daisy does not hold up. Whew! That's an offensive film. It's a well-made movie, but it's like the caricatures in there are like, it's tough. So I think that's why Green Book won. I think it was a little bit to right that wrong. Because Driving Miss Daisy doesn't hold up, I think, it's a little bit tough to look back and see that the Oscars gave that Best Picture. And you're like, really? Because now it seems really offensive and tone deaf. All right. So those are the 3 stories of the day. Hold on. It is 6:19, so let's call it 6:20. You can ask me anything you'd like until 6:30. That's right, Marcus. The atomic bomb is a depressing topic. I always think of T2 when the bomb goes off and everybody gets evaporated. It's rough. Sufjan says, would a $70 million opening weekend be considered a flop for Eternals? I think no, because the reviews are so bad, and it would match it with Black Widow. If it falls below Black Widow, I think then it's going to be problematic. I'm not even going to consider it be lower than the 6s. If it would maybe open in the 50s, that doesn't make, let's see. The Rotten Tomato score keeps dropping, but it is a Marvel movie. I think that it's going to open solid, but I think that, again, as I've said before, where Eternals is going to run into choppy waters is the long run. I think its totals are going to be very weak. Raphael says all theaters around there are sold out. That's great. That's wonderful. It's good for the movie business for a movie to do well. I think that there's a big cluster F coming up in terms of Thanksgiving. Let me talk to you about Thanksgiving. Oh my God, there's so much. I got Cowboy Bebop. It's too much. Ghostbusters Afterlife, Cowboy Bebop, The Great on Hulu, Hawkeye on Disney+. Then, in terms of movies, we've got King Richard, again, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Resident Evil, the new Resident Evil, House of Gucci, Encanto, and then also Licorice Pizza. Talk about getting stuffed for Thanksgiving. Caleb the Great is this really wonderful, pseudo-historical show about Catherine the Great in Russia with Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. It's very, very funny. Owl Watch, we are in the question part of the stream. Ha, that was your question. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. Paul, I think Spider-Man is I'm telling you, I think they really want to see how Eternals does. Spider-Man No Way Home should be a $2 billion picture, and I think it's not looking good. I also think there's a problem with the VFX being ready in time. As I told you yesterday, they're working 7 days a week to get those done. Damoni, I stopped watching Titans. I thought it was really weak. I think I think it was episode 8 maybe, I was like, this is horrible, and I stopped watching it. Let's see here. Damon says, what'd you think of the Witcher trailer? The Witcher trailer dropped on Friday when I was not working. I took the day off for the Halloween weekend. So that's what happens when you drop your trailers at weird times. You know, I mean, there's a system in place for a reason. But I did watch it, and I thought it was very, very strong, although I am surprised at how little coverage it got. I wasn't the only one who didn't cover it. I am planning to review the show, though. See, Josh didn't even know there was a Witcher trailer. Doggomania, I also stopped watching Doom Patrol, I'm afraid to say. Michael McKenna says fruit toast topping, syrup or fruit? Syrup for sure. I make good French toast. I make very good pancakes and French toast. Mika, Thor Love and Thunder, I haven't heard anything about the reshoots, but I trust Taika Waititi. I'm excited for the Jane Foster's Thor storyline. It was so good in the comics. Brett wants to know some embargo dates for November. Well, Arcane is on Saturday, as I told you. That's an embargo date. Let's see here. The Hawkeye embargo date for review is the day before, which is usual for Disney Plus Marvel shows and Star Wars shows. They always do it the day before it drops. Let's see here. The Shrink Next Door for Apple TV is on the 12th, Monday the 12th, I believe. No, the 8th. The 8th. Let's see here. Cowboy Bebop's embargo is on the 15th, Monday, November 15th. And Kanto's embargo is also on the 15th, but I'm seeing it on the 16th, so I'll be like a day or so late for that, my review on that. Those are the embargo dates I know right now. I already reviewed Ghostbusters. Evan, I'm so excited about Jonathan Majors and Simu Liu hosting SNL. I think Simu Liu will do a particularly good job. I hope it doesn't make any sketches about China. I think he's hanging on by a thread there, man. But I think Jonathan Majors, so fantastic. I think both those guys are going to do a great job. Chad says, Grace, why is everyone burying Morbius already and it hasn't hit theaters yet? I think it just doesn't look that fresh. I mean, interest in it really fell out. I think it took too long, and I think it looks like something you should see as a streaming movie, quite frankly. Given by Gabriel says, do you think the LGBT community will get behind Eternals? I know that's 95% of my motivation to see the movie. I think so, but I think when you see the movie, you'll see that it's just a weak film. I think that it's wonderful to have that kind of LGBT representation, but I don't even think it's that strong in terms of that. I think that Billy, aka Wiccan, and America Chavez will be stronger characters for the LGBT community. Mika, Taika Waititi directing Tower of Terror hasn't been confirmed. And the fact that the trades didn't confirm it later in the day, I think is very telling. I mean, Taika Waititi said he's not doing it. Didn't say he's not doing it. But the trades, I think, would have confirmed that if it had been true. Silent Magician 7, I'm hoping to finish The Sopranos tonight. I'll finally be done. Evan Moore says, what's your favorite Christmas song? Oh, I just like Christmas music in general. I'm a big Christmas fan. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Jack Foster says, Grace, do you know when we will see Hulkling? I heard he's coming very soon. I think Secret Invasion is a good place to look for him, although I can't say for sure that's where he's going to pop up. But Secret Invasion, by the way, just started filming, so that's very exciting. I'm excited. Mariah Carey is fantastic, of course, as usual. Good. 3 more minutes. Steven, I'm not going to see or review Spencer. I'm going to be busy with Eternals coverage. Ivan, I've given you so much Black Panther 2 tea. I do know that they have a funeral in it, as I've told you before, but now I have confirmation of it. For sure. It's like I knew they were thinking of doing a funeral, but they're definitely doing a funeral for T'Challa. And it's a happy funeral because, of course, in Wakanda, death is not the end. It's a celebration of life. Denzel, I stopped watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. It was just after 2 episodes, I was like, I don't think there's anything else to say. Although I will watch the next season for sure. Steven, I did not spot Gaga as an extra on The Sopranos, but you know who I saw the other day? Lin-Manuel Miranda in a very small part on there. It's fun to spot the big stars, especially as the show comes to an end. And Lin-Manuel Miranda wasn't like a guest star. It was like an early role in his career. It was very funny. He did a good job. Marco, I have not been watching Young Justice 4, I'm afraid. Mika, I'm not going to do an Eternal sequel video. I don't think that... you'll see. I'll do videos about the end credit scenes. Ivan, I think we might get a Miss Marvel... no, Casey Mack asked that. And Ivan just wants to know about Disney Plus Day T in general. I haven't checked with my sources, actually, about that day. I'm just expecting it to be really big. So I'll check after this. I'll see if I can find anything out about what might be coming out. I told you some Star Wars tea. Andy Serkis is going to have a small role in Andor as a prisoner. That's pretty cool. In human form, being himself. Luke, yes, that Green Goblin leak I heard is legit about his new costume. I think it looked pretty good. I thought the goggles were a nice touch. Lloyd, you took the day off for Disney Plus Day? That's fantastic. Oh, it's 6:31. All right, let me do some shout outs. So the way this works is that just, say your name, what you're doing, if you're eating anything, where you are, what's going on with you right now. Just give me something to interact with you about. Juan, they don't have a schedule yet for Disney Plus Day. Carrie is drinking a smoothie in Chicago. Oh, that sounds great. Marduk is going to bed in France. Luke says, my name is Luke from Texas, and I'm eating sushi. Nice to meet you, Luke. Ari is bundled in blankets in chilly London. It's chilly here, too. Nathaniel's about to go to the gym. M. Carballo is anticipating Eternals. Oh, that's great. I hope you have a good time. Jimmy Antoine is having cookies and watching you from Detroit. Delicious. Tempo Rand is chilling in Montreal, while Juan Bretez is cleaning his car. Good for you. It'll be all spotless, and you'll be able to enjoy it. Tyler Rods is hanging out with my dog, listening to you and eating some Halloween candy. Oh, that's fantastic. Lamont, just finished watching the 1931 Dracula movie in Germany. Oh, that's awesome. Those old movies really hold up. Mikey Braze in the Yorkshire, UK, just finishing work for the day there. Oh, yay, you're off. Congratulations. Lloyd says, gloomy and very rainy here in Virginia. K-Max says, Grace about to go watch Antlers and Last Night in Soho. So Last Night in Soho was a lot of fun. Have a good time. I haven't seen Antlers. Let's see there. Rashad is playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Great use of emojis there. Enjoying my day off in Vegas. Michael McKennis is at Chicago eating breakfast burritos. I like seeing you guys sometimes in the same cities. I think that's fun. Marco says, celebrating my university math exam grade in Milan, Italy. Congratulations! Let's see. Juan Cruz D'Ambrosio says, in the airport here in Buenos Aires, what a cool place for us to be keeping you company. Waiting for my friend from the United States that is coming to visit me and some other friends. Wow, Juan, you're on the precipice of a great time. Dane O'Leary is about to chow down on some orange chicken. I had some orange chicken on Saturday. It was delicious. Ivan is watching the new Chucky series in Mexico and enjoying it. Excellent. Steven is about to rewatch Jackie to prepare for Spencer on Thursday. That's a good choice. I liked Jackie. I thought that was a good movie. I'll do like 2 more. Oh, Tabitha says healing from oral surgery in South Carolina. Oh, we told you good luck the last week. I'm so glad everything went well. Faith in Films, I didn't see your reply. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Whose birthday is it? Oh, let's see here. Keith says, eating pizza on my day off. Hope you're doing well, Grace. I am, Keith. I hope you're doing well, too. Hope you're doing keeping up with your art. You're a very good artist. Watch says, Grace, my friend to go to last night, last night in Soho at that theater, but I think the IMAX screen was taken. I think you might have missed some words in your sentence there, but I'm sorry that didn't quite work out, your screening. Kim, I'm excited for your birthday on Friday. Damani Lovell says, hi, Grace. I'm about to go get some Wendy's near my house in the Bronx, New York City. Have fun. Their chicken nuggets are delicious. I also love that they have baked potatoes at Wendy's. I think that's great. Wanda the Witch is lifting weights. Good for you. Wanda pumping iron. Josh, I have watched the first 2 episodes of Succession, but because it was Halloween, I haven't watched the 3rd. But I'm going to finish Sopranos, and then I'm going to get back to current television. All right, everybody, I had a lovely time talking to you today. I'm going to shoot for a live stream tomorrow, and it was fantastic as always. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Bye. Bye, everybody.